What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Green Bay Packers Report. My name is Joey Petersen. We got a jam-packed show for everybody watching today. First up, we got a couple of breaking news stories across the National Football League that directly impact the Green Bay Packers. I'll tell you exactly how that is. And then we got a big Zac time update from head coach Matt LaFleur. Talk about his status for Sunday's game against Cincinnati. And then we're going to wrap this thing up with Matt LaFleur addressing something that I feel like we all have wanted to be addressed over the past couple of weeks, and that's this team's special teams unit. One of the worst in the National Football League, and the reason you've lost a couple games, or at least lost one game, tied one game. He talks about it. We're going to talk about it on today's show. I want to say thank you guys for 14,000 subscribers. I realize we came and went yesterday and did not give you guys a shout-out. I appreciate it, okay? My goal now is to get to 15,000 by Sunday's game against Cincinnati. That means we need 813 more subscribers to get there. This thing's growing like crazy. I say that every time, and that's because it is true. I think we've added somewhere around 4,000 subscribers just since football season started, and that's because this is the best fan base in all of the National Football League. If you want daily videos and you want them for 100% free, you found the right place. All you got to do now is subscribe. So Adam Schefter dropped this tweet, of course, coming from the horse's mouth, meaning Zac Taylor, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, who confirmed that Joe Flacco will be the one to start on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. Now, we talked about Joe Flacco in yesterday's video, and there were a lot of people that were like, Joey, why would Joe Flacco be the starting quarterback? That's not enough time for him to learn the offense. He's just going to get there. Guys, there's a reason they traded for him in the first place. They could not go another game having Jake Browning be their starting QB. And I get it. There might be a little bit of a level of concern because he's beat you already when he was with the Cleveland Browns. But I'll tell you this about the Cleveland Browns. If their name was not the Browns, I think everybody in the National Football League will look at them a little bit fonder than they're being looked at right now. They've got a top 5 defense. And Cincinnati, well, they're bottom 5 on both sides of the ball. We showed you these statistics yesterday, and they still are pretty jarring. I mean, they are last, second to last, or fourth to last in every single one of these offensive statistics. And then you look at defensively, third to last, sixth to last, third to last, bottom 7, and then, yay, they're top half of the league in turnovers per game. Guys, Cincinnati is not a good team. The Cleveland Browns are better than the Cincinnati Bengals. I know you might not think that because they got Jamar Chase. Outside of Jamar Chase and Trey Hendrickson, there are no good players for Cincinnati. Their offensive line is terrible. Their defense is terrible. Their running backs are terrible. Jake Browning led that team in rushing. So I'm going to tell you why I'm not worried. Because you beat yourself against Cleveland. Joe Flacco did not beat you. You beat yourself by throwing an interception late and by allowing your field goal to be blocked. Like I said earlier, the Browns have a top 5 defense. Cincinnati does not. You will be able to put up points and put up points at a premium. And then number 3, the playbook for Joe Flacco to start 4 days after getting to Cincinnati, it's going to be so limited. I don't care how long Joe Flacco has been in the National Football League. This is a brand new offense to him. And so because of that, they're just going to be a little bit more handcuffed offensively, which means your defense and Jeff Hafley, they'll be able to predict things a little bit better than usual because of how limited that playbook is going to be. That's not the only breaking NFL news we got today that impacts Green Bay. The second part of that first part of today's video, Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray dealing with a foot injury is not expected to practice today. Ian Rappaport reports this, saying it's an injury to watch. Well, why does that matter? Why does that impact Green Bay? Well, the Arizona Cardinals are who you're facing on the road in Week 6, right after you play the Cincinnati Bengals. And before you get into the bulk and tough part of your schedule, we'll look at that in just a little bit. Of course, starting with the Steelers in Week 8. That means the Green Bay Packers could go 2 straight weeks of facing backup quarterbacks. I'll sign up for that any day of the week. In the National Football League, I'll take that when you can get it. Sometimes you get bad breaks, sometimes you get good breaks. Now, it's on your team to compete and beat those backup quarterbacks, but at this point, you take every break that you can get. If you're going to play a backup quarterback, don't be upset about it. Embrace that. Go dominate them. Be thankful for that opportunity you get to not have to play a guy like Joe Burrow, to not have to possibly play a guy like Kyler Murray, who is a running threat. Now, he is day-to-day, so we don't know whether he's going to be playing week 6 or not. But if you can get those 2 wins against 2 backup quarterbacks, get as many wins as you can because the schedule does not get easier. You look at the rest of the season. Of course, you play the Eagles in week 10, and then the Vikings week 12, Lions, Bears, Broncos, Bears, Ravens, Vikings. Guys, it's going to be a tough road at the end of the year. Exciting, but difficult. So this is the point of the year. You got to be thankful for wins, and you got to stack them, get them when you can. Speaking of that game against Cincinnati, we talked about it with Joe Flacco earlier. What's your concern level for the Bengals game? Scale it for me 1 to 100. 100, you're saying like you're extremely concerned. I don't know why. 1, you are saying you're not concerned at all whatsoever. You let me know in the comments section. Let's talk about Zach Tom. Matt LaFleur gave this update today in his pre-practice press conference. He's doing well right now. He'll be limited at practice this week. Packers are in pads today. That will be a good test for him. Cool little tidbit about the pads. Christian Watson is in full pads, so maybe that does impact his status for Sunday's game against Cincinnati. But enough Christian Watson. We're talking about Zach Tom. Honestly, I would not mind one bit the Green Bay Packers being a little bit cautious about that injury. Because we all got to remember that this team has already rushed him back before, and he got hurt the first snap that he played back in action. If I remember correctly, that was against the Cleveland Browns. And Darian Kennard looked pretty dang good against Dallas. I was very, very happy with what I saw out of him. Now, it is Dallas, and I get it. Cincinnati, they have Trey Hendrickson. The Dallas Cowboys do not have a Trey Hendrickson on their team. They did, but then they traded him to you. So, it'll still be a really, really good pass rusher that Kennard's going to have to face against. But Green Bay, like I said, they've rushed back Zach Tom before, and I am in no interest in doing that again, further hurting him and keeping him out for more of this season than he already has missed, okay? If I'm the one making the call, what I'm doing is saying, you know what? We're going to take this one more week, see how you're doing next week against Arizona, then you're going to be back there. If you don't feel good enough to go against Arizona, sweet, we'll leave you out another week, bring you back into Pittsburgh. I much rather would have him healthier at the end of the season than have him back quicker in the beginning of it. You make the call. Should Zach Tom play against Cincy? Let me know in the comment section down below. Give me a yes or give me a no. Just go ahead and give me your answer. If you're looking for life insurance, I have an answer for you, and that answer is our friends at Ethos. As you know, my wife Kennedy and I got married about 1.5 years ago, and I imagine we'll buy a house and start having kids sometime soon. And if something were to happen to me, the last thing I want the people I love to worry about is being able to pay the bills. So I trust Ethos to keep them protected. It's not fun to think about what would happen if something happened, but you do need to be prepared. With life insurance through Ethos, your family is protected. Life insurance is a perfect way to make sure you're covered. You can get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. There's no complicated process, and it's 100% online. As of March 2025, Business Insider actually named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Just answer a few health questions and get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help them find the right coverage. You can get the same day coverage without ever leaving your house. You can even get up to $3 million in coverage. And you need more convincing? Well, Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 2,400 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times may vary and rates may vary. All right, let's talk about special teams. Matt LaFleur talked about this in today's pre-practice press conference, and it is a unit that he needs to discuss. Very, very easy to see that. If you look at where they've ranked in special teams over the last 5 seasons, they have yet to have a top 25 team in the NFL. It's not very hard to be top 25 in anything in the National Football League because there's 32 teams. And this year they're bottom 3. So far, they're ranking 30th in their PFF grade. Well, Matt LaFleur said more than anything, it's not giving up the big play. Can't have catastrophic plays, no different than a turnover on offense or a takeaway on defense. And we talked about the changes that might be needed to be made on the special teams unit last week during the bye week. It looks like those changes are being made because Elton Jenkins is playing on field goal protection right now instead of Brant Banks, who they released earlier last week. So that's good. You see the changes you need to make, and you make those changes. Gage, can you put this photo full screen for just a second? And honestly, I got a lot to say about Rich Bisaccia and a lot to say about Matt LaFleur. But I'm happy that they see something that needed fixing, and they're going ahead and they're fixing it. But it's not just the point afters. It's not just the field goals. It's everything, man. If you look at kick coverage, average, opponent, drive, start, the Green Bay Packers are at 24, with opponents averaging, starting the ball a little bit past the 30-yard line. Something's got to get fixed. Something's got to get fixed in a big way because it is the reason you are losing these football games or you are tying these football games. Against the Cleveland Browns, of course, you had that field goal. Excuse me. That too. I got to start taking allergy medicine. It's unbelievable. If you've watched the show for any time over the last couple of weeks, you see me sneeze like every single video. I'm tired of it. Regardless, one thing I'm more tired of is these blocked field goals or extra points. That's the reason you lost to Cleveland. You got that extra point blocked and return against Dallas. That's a 3-point swing. You ended up tying that football game. And to make matters worse, Rich Bisaccia is the highest paid special teams coordinator in the National Football League. You are paying him the most money to have the worst unit. Make that make sense. I can't, you can't, and hopefully something changes about that if nothing changes about this team. Make sure you got me followed on social media. That's going to do it for today's show. You can find me Instagram, Twitter, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Again, we're trying to get to 15,000 subs by Sunday's game. It's Wednesday. We got like 4 days to do that. I need your help. If you're still watching and you're not subscribed, make that change right now.